Hello, we are live. This is Mompreneurs to Millionaires. So glad you're here. Today we are talking about Pinterest, right? I love talking about Pinterest. It is such a fun tool. Pinterest ideas to drive traffic. So if you have been wondering why maybe Pinterest, right? We're going to talk about it. If you're wondering how to grow Pinterest, we're going to talk about it. And how it works for your business. We are going to talk about it. So definitely stick around if you are interested in Pinterest and wanting to know how to make it work for your business. So I'm so glad you're here. Let me know if you are on the live, just say live below, or let me know if you're on the replay. Just type replay below. I'd love to know who comes in the day of and who comes in afterwards. Awesome. Give me a little wave. Great to see you all. So today we're talking about Pinterest, right? What I love about Pinterest, here is the why. Why should you be on Pinterest? In the last 10 years, right, I've really been on Pinterest for about 15 years, right? And it is the most clickable social media platform. The most clickable. That is the reason to be on Pinterest, right? That is the number one reason. If you're not on Pinterest and wanting clicks, it is the most clickable platform out of all the platforms. Here's a little side note, right? In the last 10 years, Instagram is the least clickable, right? So if you're wanting people to click, go somewhere, buy that thing, if you're wanting clicks, right? And most people are wanting clicks. Most people are wanting you to, most people are wanting people to click to their thing, right? Get them in your container, go to your website, go to your thing, right? Clicks. Instagram, it's very not clickable. You notice this. The only place for links, right? In the bio and in your stories. So with Pinterest, this is complete opposite. With every single pin requires a URL. So it is highly clickable. And most people on there are women, and most people are used to clicking off of Pinterest. So for whatever reason, Pinterest kind of was designed at the beginning to be clickable. It is highly clickable. So it's a great place to drive traffic. So, excuse me, so that's the why, right? So definitely stick around. We're going to talk more about how to make it work for your business. All right, thanks so much to everyone who voted. I put a poll out in my group every Tuesday on which topics we should talk about, right? So if you have a question that keeps coming up for your business, or you feel like there's just one skill or something you're confused on that is stopping you from moving your business forward, let's talk about it. Feel free to drop any questions you have below, or you can always private message me and say, hey, I'd love a free little workshop on such and such, right? This keeps coming up for my business. I don't know if I should be on TikTok. I don't know if I should do a blog. Any of those questions, right, about marketing your business, let's talk about it, right? So feel free to say any questions below, but thanks so much to everyone who voted. Obviously, the winning topic today was Pinterest. So I love talking about Pinterest because it is such a fun, beautiful place, right? If you are at all interested in pretty pictures, right? I love pretty pictures. But if your target audience is women and you are not on Pinterest, definitely I would take a look, right? You can be on Pinterest just for have a personal account. You don't have to be on there for your business, but it is still a great tool to think about using for your business. Even just to get in the headspace, right? I think is a really great place. The headspace of your target audience, I think is a great place to get started. So with all of these free videos, right, I know that you are a go-getter, right? You are here, you are wanting some little tidbit about business that will help move your business forward. Some little nugget, a little tip, right? So with that, I always like to invite you to put on your abundance crown, right? I'm calling it a crown because everyone has a goddess within, I believe. And so with that crown, I really want you to get in the headspace of all things are possible, right? That's what abundance means to me. All things are possible, and you have the power. You have the power to change. But with that power, right, is you have to take some action. You have to have some little mindset shift or some little action in order to make a change. So I invite you to write down 2 things that you get from this video, right? Whether it's a little aha moment, whether it's just one little tip you hadn't thought of before, and just 2 things, right? Or an action that you're going to take, that you're going to try in your business. Because we can download all the free material in the world, right? I heard this the other day, and I like to repeat it, is that DIY, right? Doing it yourself for business is the slowest way to either fail or success, right? It's the slowest way to get there. And I get it, right? You're resourceful, you're a go-getter. I know you can do it yourself, but if you keep downloading free material and not getting things out of it, it is the slowest way to either fail or success, right? But the point is, you want to get something out of the free things that you partake in, right? You're taking time, you're taking energy, so definitely make sure you get something out of it. But of course, I would love to answer any questions if you feel like there is a follow-up question to anything that I don't address here. So definitely feel free to send me your Pinterest questions if you have them. So yeah, write down two things that you get from today's talk and feel free to share them below, or you can always message me privately. All right, if you are new here, I'm Christina, and I love talking about Facebook groups, right? I've been an entrepreneur forever. I feel like, right, where my babysitter's at, right? A little 12-year-old me, I created a little business for babysitting, made little business cards, right? Made it a whole thing. Which is so funny. You know, I was thinking about, we didn't have cell phones back then, so we had answering machines, right? That's where my babysitting days started, right? People would leave messages, and you know, my poor parents, like, that must have taken up so much of our answering machine. But anyway, right? And entrepreneurial, I think spirit runs deep in all of us, right? If you're here, you've been an entrepreneur forever as well. I started my first little Etsy shop back in 2010, right? So that's been, 16 years ago. And I quickly realized that Etsy and Pinterest got together very early on, right? So if you are at all interested in Etsy or have had an Etsy shop at some time or another, you've probably obviously been aware of Pinterest because they work so seamlessly together. And I think this is how Pinterest became so clickable. Maybe not just Etsy, but I think Pinterest realized that people are wanting to advertise their business. People are wanting you to go somewhere. So they're building beautiful pins, but they're wanting you to go somewhere. So really at the beginning, Pinterest was designed to be seamless to get off of Pinterest, right? You probably notice on Facebook, if you share a link, one, it doesn't get shown to as many people, but also if you click, right, it's hard to get off of Pinterest. There's like that funny, like, it's just not as smooth, right? Because Facebook does not want you off of Facebook, right? Quite honestly. But Pinterest, it's a lot more smoother. It's just a seamless transition to get off of Pinterest. And it was a very seamless transition to Etsy, right? So Etsy and Pinterest worked really well together, and that was really, really beneficial. But what I quickly realized on Etsy, right? Tell me if you have realized this, that the internet is huge, right? You cannot just build it and people will come, right? That has been the biggest lesson that I keep learning over and over. So you have to go to them, right? You have far more power than that. You are a goddess within, right? You have far more power than to sit and wait for your audience, right? I call this posting and hoping, right? You have far more power. You can go to them. So fast forward to the bike shop, right? I love talking about the bike shop. My husband in 2014, my husband and I opened up a little bike shop coffee shop. And this is where I learned everything by fire, right? Because we had to. I needed people in my door like yesterday. So we learned to go to them again, because we built the perfect shop, what we thought, colors, location, products, coffee, bikes, all the things. We thought we had all the perfect stuff, right? And we were waiting. We were hoping people would just show up. And of course they didn't. So we had to go to them. Right? So this is where marketing comes in, right? I really think you have far more power than to just wait for customers, right? You have far more power. Go to them, right? Start some conversations. I definitely think leads turn into clients by conversations. I really think conversations is how people are going to get to know you and how you are going to get to know them, quite frankly, whether they are your ideal client, where they're at, how you can help them, all those things, right? I don't think people are clicking on a post and buying immediately, right? I think it takes far more conversation and relationships. I think relationships are what convert. So that's what I am all about. I love teaching my clients how to build a predictable lead flow coming into their business and having these conversations and building relationships. That is what I help my clients build. If that's something you're interested in, feel free to just say strategy below. What I love about Pinterest is it really helps you get in the mindset of your target audience. So this is something that I work one-on-one with my clients. Right now I'm doing a VIP challenge. It's just $27 for 5 days. You get me in your back pocket for 5 days, where we go over the videos of my 5-step framework, how to build a Facebook group, right? A Facebook group that converts. So we're building communities that convert, we're starting relationships, getting a predictable lead flow coming into your business, and then turning these into conversations that convert. So that's what we talk about. And we start with the VIP challenge. It's a great place to kind of get to know me. And we spend a whole day on target audience. So this is a really great place. If target audience is something that you've been struggling with, definitely we can dive into that. If you have a Facebook group that you feel like is not converting or has been quiet, right? That has grown quiet and is not engaging. This is a great time to reinvigorate using the VIP challenge. It's a great time, a great way to reinvigorate, get it reviving again. It's called 50 members in 5 days. So to grow your group, but also to get it engaging again. That's the whole point of the VIP challenge. So if you're interested in the VIP challenge, just say VIP below. But right at the bike shop, we found both at Etsy and the bike shop, right? I discovered that Facebook groups was the easiest way to get customers. With the Etsy shop, I found other Etsy shop owners in Facebook groups, and we wanted to be in community, especially women, right? We want to be in community with each other, grow, learning together, right? We bought from each other, those Etsy shop owners. We grew together, we learned from each other, and that is what helped grow that Etsy shop for me. Then at the bike shop, we also found that in our local community, excuse me, there are many Facebook groups, right? You guys are probably in your local neighborhood, city, town, right? Facebook groups. So we created a Facebook group with the bike shop to have events. And what I think is such the testament to Facebook groups is here we are 10 years later. We sadly had to close the business in 2016. 10 years later, there are still people getting together in that Facebook group that we created for the bike shop, getting together and going on bike rides. Right? What a testament to the idea of this community. Your customers want to be seen, heard, and feel like they belong, right? We're all looking for our tribe. We all want to feel seen and heard. So the Facebook group, I think, is the easiest way to do that, to build loyal supporters around your business. So if you'd all have any Facebook group questions, of course, you can ask me anytime. But with Pinterest, right? So Pinterest, again, this is a great place for target audience. Like I said, we talk about this in my VIP challenge, but I think your target audience is so important. So at the bike shop, we thought our target audience was going to be these higher end cyclists, right? You probably, I don't know, in your town, if you've seen those giant bike groups, they drive by on Sundays, Saturdays and Sundays. And in our town, they stop at 7-Eleven. So we thought, wouldn't it be great to have a place for them to get coffee, get an energy bar, maybe get their brakes fixed too, right? Or get their derailleur adjusted or something, right? So this was our mindset. This was our target audience. Come to find out, after we opened up and spent a lot of money on higher end equipment and bikes and products and parts, we discovered these higher end cyclists do not particularly like shopping in person. They're so into their bike, they want to do it themselves, right? They want to shop around, find the best price, usually on Amazon, do it themselves, and then come to us when they screw it up. So repairs, of course, was the biggest part of our business. But come to find out, there are far more families in our community, right? If we had really thought about it for a minute, we probably would have realized there are far more people, families wanting to get their kids on bikes, go for family bike rides, right? There are far more customers in that bracket. So we really pivoted and decided, okay, we're really going to gear towards families and kids. So that ended up being our target audience. So what I love about thinking about this, right, lesson, this hard lesson that I had to learn, and I hope you don't have to, is the expensive lesson, is that sometimes your target audience shifts, and that's okay, right? It is always a good idea to really be looking at who you're serving, who you want to be serving, and if your system is effective for that person, right, for that target audience. So if you fix the problem that they actually have. So this is something to really, I think, always be thinking about, right? Because often we sometimes start too big and think, okay, I can help everyone, and then we niche down. Sometimes we niche down too far, right? So somewhere in between, and this is where you can find, somewhere in between, your message is going to resonate with the right person, your service, your offers, all of those things, and help the people that you really want to help. So it's always good to think about your target audience, and this is where Pinterest comes in. All right, so we're going to get into Pinterest. Here are my 4 tips for Pinterest. So again, the why be on Pinterest, right? That's really important, is because it is highly clickable. So you really want to be thinking about where you're going to send people. So to me, I think the Facebook groups is the easiest sales funnel out there. right? So here's my goal. Every day, each and every day, I wake up and I think, how can I get more people into my Facebook group? Because that's my funnel, right? I have it set up. My entry questions tell me exactly where they are, their level of interest. And then I know those are the triggers, right? Those are the triggers. Those are the levers that are pulled. And then I know what to do with who after they get into the Facebook group. So that is my goal each and every day, to get people into my Facebook group. So I have a lot of pins that go to my Facebook group. However, I do think pins to your specific website are important. If you have a website, definitely you want to be on Pinterest, because Pinterest is a great place to grow SEO, get more traffic going to your website, right? So for me, going to my website also funnels into my Facebook group. So that is part of the whole overall comprehensive system of making sure you're getting people to the right place. So definitely be thinking about where you want to be sending people. Because like I said, every pin in Pinterest is clickable, right? You want to put, they encourage you. In fact, I don't even know if you can. I think it might error out if you don't have a link to that pin. So that's what's so great. Every pin is clickable. So the first step is really thinking about your target audience. And what I would suggest is, if you have a target audience in mind, go on Pinterest and search for what they might be searching for, right? This really gets you in the headspace of what they're looking at. It might have nothing to do with your business, right? But think about all aspects of their life. We are all multifaceted people and human beings, right? So yes, I might be a business owner, but of course I'm on Pinterest looking at Easter decorations, parenting ideas, summer activities, travel bucket list, right? I'm looking, cooking, what's for dinner, like, right? There's a million things. We are all multifaceted human beings looking at lots of things, and we love Pinterest and we love ideas, right? Pinterest is to be getting inspired by ideas. So it's definitely heavy focused on pretty pictures, but definitely heavy focused on blogs. If you have a blog, definitely be thinking about being on Pinterest, because a pretty picture, but with a heavy text, that's the title of your blog, or some call to action, is a great idea for Pinterest. So just to get in the headspace of your target audience, right? So that's really number one, is to just be thinking who your target audience is. What is she searching? What images is she seeing, right? Pinterest is a really easy place to do this. So I love all things, of course, business. I'm looking at business things. I also love all things spiritual. So I have all different boards, to inspire me in that aspect. So it's a great place to really get in the headspace. So that brings us to number 2 tip. So the first one is get into your target audience's mind. The second one is to create boards that your target audience would also like. So if you don't know already, right, Pinterest is really great at inspiration, obviously. So you can create boards, and they are titled, right? You can title the board, so you can have different categories. So this is what I love. It helps me compartmentalize who I am as a human, right? I can have a Christmas decoration board. I can have a meal planning board. I can have a travel bucket lists board. I can have a goddess board, right? I can have a manifestation board. I can have a money board. I can have all of these different things of who I am as a person. And I get to see what's out there, and it's super easy to just pin, yep, ooh, I like that, yep, ooh, I'm gonna look at this later, right? We may never get to it, but it's a great place to save a bunch of stuff. And saves is a great thing for your SEO, right? Of course you want clicks, but it's also great to have saves, because then Pinterest is gonna show your stuff to more people. So this is what is great about Pinterest. You have your saved pins, that's in one category. Then you have your created pins. So you can see really, really quickly on your profile on Pinterest, there are 2 tabs. One is your created pins, and that is your pins, right? The ones that you create. Then the other one is your saved pins, and this is all of your boards. These are other people's pins. So this is really where I think it's important to get in the headspace of your target audience. Create boards for what they are searching for. Because here's the thing, right? If your target audience is searching for, let's say, meal planning, even though you have nothing to do with meal planning for your business, if you guys both click on the same pin or similar pins, Pinterest says they might also like this person's created pins, right? You have similar interests. We all have similar interests, right? They just pinned this really popular Christmas decor. I'm going to also show them their business pins, right? It's a really great, you might also like this, right? So it's a really, really easy place to, again, get in the headspace of your target audience, pin what they are pinning, see what they are pinning, see what they are inspired by, Get inspired by their similar things, right? Because more than likely you are interested in what your target audience is interested in too. So it's really, it's just a fun place, right? It's a really great place. And again, I say this with a big caveat, watch your time, right? It's really easy to, go on there for business ideas and all of a sudden I'm planning my Thanksgiving tablescape. Right? Tell me the craziest Pinterest rabbit hole you've gotten down. I would love to hear. But right, it's a beautiful place. So definitely watch your time and be careful about it. It can definitely be a time suck, but it's a beautiful, fun place just for personal reasons, right? It's a great place to get inspired for seasonal decor, right? Whatever season's coming up, there's so many fun ideas for decorating for the seasons, for the holidays, creating meals, all kinds of health and wellness, right? If you are in the health and wellness space, my goodness, if you are in the spiritual space, there are so many beautiful pins over on Pinterest. So definitely check it out. All right, so that's the second. Create boards. So create boards that your target audience would be interested in. Of course, I always suggest create one board that is your business, right? So it can be the name of your business, it can just be your name, it can be whatever it is, but have one board that is your pins so that it's very easy also for your own organization, right? Have one board that is just for your business, your created pins. Then you can create a bunch of other boards for other people's pins, right? That way it's really easy for you to see which, where your own pins are. But they separate them with the created tab and the save tab. So those are just some ideas. Create boards. All right, the third tip for Pinterest. So again, I've been on Pinterest for 15 years. It is really easy to grow a following and to get clicks. That is the reason to be on Pinterest. But how you can make it work more for you, right? Because it's not just another place to post, right? So I would always suggest automating. And the easiest way to automate, because it's kind of a set it and forget it situation, right? What is different about Pinterest than any other social media platform is that it is less about recent time. You notice on Facebook, right? Your post from 2 years ago is way, right? People say in Zuckerberg's basement, right? Like there is nobody checking out your your posts on Facebook from 2 years ago, right? No, it's gone. It's gone off the face of the earth. They are worried about recent and relevant information. On Pinterest, all of a sudden you could have a pin from 2 years ago that all of a sudden goes viral because the picture is relevant, the timing is relevant, whatever it is. So it is less about recent data on Pinterest. And here's the kicker about Pinterest. They say Pinterest is much more of a searchable database, less of a social media platform. So this is why having a bunch of pins related to your target audience is so key, because if they are searching for anything and you also have that thing pinned, if they pin something that you pin or something similar, Pinterest is going to show them your created pins. So this is how you can get the SEO working for you, get the searchability working for you, right? It is much more of a searchable database. People are less hanging out on profiles on Pinterest. They are searching. They're searching for whatever they're going on there to search for. Pinterest is going to suggest things to them. And that's where you want to show up, right? You want to show up in their feed. You want to show up in their searches. So a searchable database. So this is where, like I said, recent information is not as important. So you can just have a pin from 2 years ago that has a cute picture. All of a sudden it's super relevant, or someone decides it's cute, right? And all of a sudden it can get a lot of traffic. So that's what's really exciting about Pinterest. Is to just, have a steady flow of pins and have it automated. So that is the third tip, is to automate your Pinterest. And unfortunately, you have to have a third party for this. I think you can schedule pins on Pinterest, but that's much more, I think it's a little higher maintenance. So Tailwind app is the app that I have used for over a decade. I love Tailwind because you can schedule your pins for one, but they also have two things for Tailwind that I love. They call them smart loops, and this is where it loops your content, all your pins, to different boards throughout the year. So they have it set up so that it's not spammy, right? They have a time frame all worked into the calculation, how they do this, but they schedule your pins for you and they loop them. They loop them throughout the year to relevant boards. So this is great, right? All of a sudden your old pins can all of a sudden be seen by new people. So that's really valuable, the smart loops. The second amazing thing within Tailwind is they have communities. They used to be called tribes, I think, but communities within Tailwind where it's required if you pin something into that community, it is required for you to pin someone else's or save someone else's pin into your Pinterest. So it's kind of a pin for pin, right? Save for save. So it's a great reciprocal place. So if you post 2 or 3 pins in there, then you save 2 or 3 pins of everybody else. So it's a great place, right? It's required, it's very reciprocal, it's a great place to get some views as well. So the communities and smart loops are really valuable over in Tailwind. So that would be when you're ready to automate your Pinterest, right? If you're still at the beginner stage and you're just trying to figure out what is Pinterest even for, what do I do it, do I even like it? Definitely, I wouldn't start with Tailwind. That's a little bit higher end, but when you're ready to automate, Tailwind is a great place. There are other apps as well, right? I haven't experienced any other apps. If anyone has any ideas on third-party apps that help you automate your Pinterest, I would love to hear. But yeah, the Tailwind app is really helpful. So that's the third tip. The fourth tip is repurpose, right? It is all about repurposing your content. If you have a blog from 3 years ago and it didn't get enough traction, think about creating a new pin for that blog. Change up the picture, right? Change the title in the pin. You don't have to change the title of the blog, but you absolutely could. Get some SEO going to that blog. What is great about Pinterest, separate from Google, right? If you realize Google is all about recent and relevant information. So that's all it's looking for, recent and relevant. So if you have not updated your website for a long time, and if you're not blogging, right? That's a talk for another day. A reason to blog is to keep your website fresh. If you haven't updated your website, it is getting pushed down and down and down further into searches because it is no longer recent. So a blog is a really great way to keep it recent, but Pinterest is a great way to have a recent pin for even an old blog, right? So that's a really great way to drive traffic to older information on your website. So repurpose content, right? Create a pin for old content. So this could be an old post, it could be an old idea that you had or whatever, just repurpose. What is great about Canva, right? If many of you are in Canva, is you can just resize your content. So if you have a post, if you have like a square post, I know Instagram is kind of going away from square posts, I think, but if you have a square post or a Facebook landscape, whatever the size is, you can really easily resize the content in Canva to a Pinterest pin. Now they have long pins and kind of regular size pins. Excuse me, the regular size pins, now I can't remember which is which, but I believe the longer pin is the same as a TikTok size, right? Or an Instagram reel. Those are all 3 the same size. So it's really easy to, if you already have stuff going on Instagram reels or on TikTok, it's a great idea to think about repurposing it over on Pinterest, right? What's great about Pinterest is it's clickable, highly clickable. I think videos do really well on Pinterest. I don't know about personal videos, right? I don't know that personal videos do as well. I would be curious if anyone has experimented with that. I do think videos like for images, right? So I always say like on Canva, you can you can animate anything, right? You can have your text kind of flowing in, you can have music in the background, whatever it is. And those tend to do really well on Pinterest. Because again, right, videos, as you're scrolling, you stop the feed, right? You stop the scroll. So the video pops up, starts moving, right? It just gets more eyeballs. So that's what's great about videos. All right, so that is the 4 easy ideas to get traffic on Pinterest and why, right? Because it is clickable. The first one is think about your target audience. Second one is create boards with your target audience in mind. What is she looking for? What is she searching? What is she pinning? The third one is automate. Automate your Pinterest so that you have stuff looping. Use Tailwind app, that's my favorite, and get reciprocal pinning as well, right? If you are pinning other people's stuff, they're going to pin your stuff. And then the fourth one is repurpose your stuff in Canva. So you could have an old blog or something, an old post that you really loved that you wanted it to get more traction, right? And you wanted to link it to a landing page. Whatever new pages you have created on your website, definitely think about having a cute pin for those, right? Because every pin is clickable over on Pinterest. That's what I love about Pinterest. It is highly, highly clickable. So take advantage of it, right? Get traffic going to your website over to your Facebook group, whatever funnel you want to get people into, right? I think Facebook groups is the easiest funnel. Again, if you want any help with your Facebook group, I would love to chat. I have that VIP challenge. You're welcome to just say VIP below, or I offer a free strategy call. You can say strategy below, and we can talk about your overall leads system. My system creates a predictable lead flow coming into your business every single day. So I would love to talk to you more about that. I always like to leave you with a little, words of wisdom. Fear is something that creeps up all the time, right? If you feel like you are afraid to send that follow-up, if you are afraid to be on camera, if you are afraid to talk about your business, it is definitely your fear is trying to keep you safe and small, right? If you are stepping out of your comfort zone, that is when your ego is going to come up the most, right? And if you are living on that edge of growth, which I think all of us probably want to be, if you're in business and wanting to move up, you are gonna have to play big, right? You are gonna have to play on that edge of fear. And sometimes that can be scary, right? And of course, it's far scarier to me to stay stuck. If you don't have a plan to move forward, to me, it is far scarier to stay stuck, because then you don't have hope, right? If you don't have a new strategy, or if what your current strategy is not working, if you don't have hope, I think it's really scary to just stay stuck and be like, well, this is what I've always done. I'm going to keep doing what I've always done, even though it's only gotten me here to this level. If it's only ever gotten me these results and you keep doing those same strategies, right? Unfortunately, you're not going to get new results. It is about changing your thought patterns, changing your actions in order to get different results. So definitely keep that in mind, that your fear may be keeping you small, right? You're far more powerful than that. Take your power back. You are far more powerful than that. Don't waste years like I did, right? I wasted years posting and hoping and not taking my power back, right? I thought that was all I had control over. It must be my content. It must be my message. It must be my words. It must be my offers. It must be me. So I spent so much in that posting and hoping loop, thinking all I had control over was to change me. No, you don't have enough eyeballs to even change one thing about your offer or message, right? Get enough eyeballs to get feedback. And that's where I think the Facebook group is so valuable. Use your Facebook group full of your ideal clients to get feedback on what resonates, what problems they actually have, what words are working, what offers are really going to solve the problems that they have, what's going to resonate with your audience. Get feedback from your customers before you change anything. That's what I definitely think. I also, right, one of my wonderful clients, she said, we are not meant to do this alone, especially women. Right? You're not meant to do this alone. I think women want to be in community with each other. I think women want to be, of course, everybody wants to be seen, heard, and belong. But I think women especially want to move together. We want to support each other. We want to rise together, right? I'm moving up. I'm bringing you with me. That is my mission in life. So definitely, I think building a community around your business, a support system, and hiring people that have done it before, right? Get in touch with the people who've paved the path. Don't make the same mistakes I did, right? I am here to share my knowledge so that I can get you there faster, right? You don't have to take as long as, you don't have to waste years like I did. You don't have to make all the mistakes I did. I want to get you there faster. And that's the key. That is how you level up, is to use the knowledge of the people that have gone before you. You're not meant to do this alone. We are meant to be in community with each other and to learn from each other. And here's the biggest thing that I've learned is that coaches use other coaches. I really believe that, because that is the easiest way to level up. You can be so knee deep in the weeds of your own business, right? That it's hard to see the bigger picture. It might just be one small tweak from an outside perspective that changes everything, right? You're not doing everything wrong by any means, right? You're doing a lot of things right. It might just be one small tweak that could change everything for you. And that is sometimes going to take an outside perspective, someone who's done it before, someone who's seen everything, someone that can really help you make the big moves to move your business forward. I really believe that. So if you are all thinking that you need a little bit of mindset, right? I think so much of business is a part of our mindset and transformation. If you feel like there are things in your mindset that are kind of holding you back, or you notice the same thought patterns, that's definitely something that I love working with my clients on, because I think transformation is all a part of every business, right? I think personal transformation, personal development, self-development is such a huge part of this journey together. So I love talking about mindset. If you think you need accountability, I think that is another part of coaching. I think it's helpful to have, you may know the exact strategy that you need, but you have trouble implementing Implementation is going to be the key, right? Over the next few years, especially as AI becomes more prevalent, it is not about getting new information, right? I think we all have information, or we have access to information with AI. That will not be the problem. It will be accountability and implementing. So if you are at all having trouble, if you know the concept of this Facebook group idea, or you know the concept of getting leads and creating a sales funnel and having, a customer journey through your business, but you're just having trouble implementing some of the small pieces, or there might be just one small tweak in your system, right? That just needs a little bit of a change in order to make the whole system smooth and working cohesively. So if you all need a little mindset, little accountability, that's what I think a coach is best for, as well as a little bit of strategy that maybe you haven't tried. And then I always say a little bit of tech, right? So if you need a little bit of tech in the background, we all could use a little bit of tech help. I'm a big believer in making it simple. I do not think we need many third-party apps, right? Of course, you're going to be sold to so many here, especially on Facebook, but I'm a big believer in simplifying your tech, because if it's easy in the background, you've got to have the power, right? I don't want you dependent on a web tech or an IT tech to make one small change, right? If you need to be able to do these things, of course you can hire someone, but you need to know how to do it. So that, when things go wrong or you want to change something, you have the power. You have the power in your business. That is my big message for today. All right. Awesome. I would love to chat with you about leads or your marketing strategy or your Facebook groups, any of that. Feel free to message me privately, or you can just say strategy below. Other than that, thanks so much for sticking around. We'll see you